Okay, friends, let's get started. We're going to be on our back and have your strap nearby. And I also forgot to mention, if you're able to put your foot against a wall or a sofa like I'm doing, that is an option also. If not, it's no problem. But what I'm getting at here is we're going to work on standing poses. That was air quotes, if you can't see. And kind of having the wall, something to mimic the wall there for the feet, can help just in terms of proprioception, to understand where we are and to bring a little more awareness to the feet. No problem if you don't have a sofa or a wall, but we want to flex the feet and brighten up the soles of the feet, kind of in this, flex with a little bit of pointing action so that the balls of the feet are really alive and extended. So we're going to start with a mountain pose on the floor where we turn the palms to face up, so you can tuck your shoulder blades under you, tuck the shoulder blades onto the back, allow the outer shoulders to drop. And really feel yourself releasing into the floor. So it's mountain pose, a little bit upside down here, in a different manner than we're used to. But what we have here is the wonderful support of the floor to allow the body to just give over, soften, surrender, and release into the support. Let the rib cage soften. And let the back of the skull and the base of the skull where it meets the neck, let that soften. Soften your eyes and around the eyes. And soften also the tongue and the muscles around the mouth. And soften the jaw. Bring your right knee in toward your chest, give it a hug. As you exhale, draw the knee closer toward the body. Continue to stay alive and bright on that standing leg, the left leg, and sending that left foot away. And then grab your strap if you have it. And from here, we're going to extend the right leg up toward the ceiling. And if you don't have a strap, no worries. Just clasp behind the right thigh. Allow the thigh to drop into the hands. Good. Left leg, the standing leg extended. And the right leg as much as you would like, moving towards straight. Stretching through the hamstring, back of the leg, extending upward. And then taking the strap into both sides of the strap into the hand. Ground your left thigh with your left hand and take the right leg out to the right. Hips are even, left thigh grounds, right leg out to the right. So again, a sense that standing leg, so to speak, that left leg is really rooted for you as that right thigh comes out to the side. And then bring it back to center. Release. Bend through the left knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor. Take a figure 4 stretch, crossing the right ankle and bringing the whole thing in. Feeling the breath coming and going. Good. And then release, and we'll take the other side. So if you're at the wall, once again, find the wall with your feet. Ground the thighs, extend through the heels and the balls of the feet, and draw your left knee in, give it a hug. See if you can soften a little bit in your breath. Just feeling that natural flow coming in, coming out. Good. And then take the strap around the left foot if you have it, or clasp hands behind the left thigh. Send the left leg up toward the ceiling. Just diving your attention into sensation in the back of the leg. Be here and breathe. And then holding both sides of the strap into the left hand, ground the right hip point or right thigh with your right hand, and take the left leg out to the left. Good, so imagine you're rooting yourself again on your standing leg, on your right leg. Even in this alternate position, we can imagine ourselves balancing, standing, but with the support for the back body, right? Supported by the floor, supported by the wall. And then come on back to center, bend the right knee, place the sole of the foot on the floor, cross the left leg, figure 4. Draw in. Keeping your mind anchored on breath and on sensation, even as it moves to different parts of the body. And then release that whole thing. Give both knees a little hug. You can rock it a little side to side. Feel free to stay here on the floor as I share a little bit of teaching. You could continue some stretching or stay in constructive rest position with the knees bent, soles of the feet to the floor. You can come up to seated if you'd like. So as I said, today is the 10th of the month of Adar, and we'll celebrate Purim this Thursday night and Friday. So I want to talk a little bit about the qualities and traits that Purim calls us to work on within ourselves. First, of course, you may well know the phrase, Mishenichnas Adar marbim besimcha. Whoever enters into the month of Adar increases in their simcha, in their joy, in their happiness. Might be a tough moment to think about your own simcha with all that's going on in the world these days. It's really a challenging time for so many reasons from all sides, but we can always work on building our happiness through gratitude practice, just noticing even in the small day-to-day things as we go through our day, something that delights us, something that grounds us, something for which we're grateful, or someone's. We start to build a practice little by little, which helps us work on simcha. Purim tells us that the Hamans of the world, or those of Amalek, of the tribe of Amalek, will keep appearing, will want to annihilate the Jews, and Jews will keep resisting injustice wherever we see it, and fighting anti-Semitism and Jew hatred wherever we see it. So Purim is a call to fight tyranny, and we can all cultivate the qualities of our inner Esther. Qualities of gvura, of strength, and qualities of courage, of ometz or ometz lev. We can work on this. Esther worked on this throughout the Purim story, right? So we're called to grow our courage. Another thing we're called to bring what is concealed into the light. So Esther's name comes from the verb lehastir, to hide or to conceal. Esther comes from lastir. And the word for the book that we read, Megillah, it comes from the verb legalot, to reveal. Right? So what is concealed and what is revealed. In the story of the Megillah, God's self, God's name is concealed. There's no mention of God in the Purim story. right? Yet also God is revealed or channeled. God's energies, God's qualities are channeled through Esther's courage and Mordechai's courage. So God isn't actively present. God is concealed, vastir, but God's will is revealed, legalot, through Esther and through Mordechai. Right? So you might think of your own life, in your own life, what is concealed, what is hidden, maybe even hidden in plain sight, and what needs some work to be uncovered, to be revealed, to be brought forth. On Purim, of course, we wear masks, we wear costumes, masechot, masks that hide our identity. So Purim is about confusion of identity, confusion between who is bad and who is good. We're instructed through orchestrated chaos on this holiday to drink until we don't know the difference between Mordechai and Haman, right? Lines are blurred. So we can see this blurring of lines, this blurring of ego identities that shift, and notice that we all wear masks in our lives. There are identities behind the masks, and that we're all also capable of playing various roles through the psychodrama of life. Lastly, there are 4 mitzvot of Purim. I want to remind us of those mitzvot. One is to hear the Megillah with its distinct cantillation. Matanot la'evyonim, to send aid to the poor, to wherever it's needed. Rambam said, for there is no greater joy than to rejoice the hearts of the poor, the orphaned, the widowed, and strangers. And one who rejoices the hearts of these unfortunates is likened to the divine presence. As it is said of God, God enlivens the spirits of the lowly and restores the hearts of the downtrodden. Third mitzvah of Purim, mishloach manot, sending gifts to our neighbors. We must not become hardened, but practice our capacity for nidivut lev, for generosity. Just like we learn in the building of the Mishkan through these parshiot of these weeks. And lastly, Seudat Purim, the meal of Purim. We should have bodily pleasure on Purim in a way that counterbalances, says the Zohar, Yom Kippur, the austerity of Yom Kippur. So we have in our tradition a practice of holding up the embodiment and the joys of embodiment, holding them to a holy place, enjoying eating. So we can grow our capacity to recap on this holiday of Purim for happiness, for simcha, for courage, ometz lev, for generosity, nedivut lev, for sensitivity and compassion for those in need, rachamim, to have a curious worldview and to study, hitlamdut, and for bodily pleasure and delight, for oneg. So Purim really brings us a lot of opportunity, in addition to just figuring out what costume we might wear, or our kids are going to wear, etc., etc. So let's come to standing. So my idea for embodying this teaching today was this sense of that on Purim things are upside down, chaotic, hafuch, turned. So I wanted to take some poses that we do standing and start them by working on our back, and then bring them to a different plane. So that's the idea behind what we're going to do today. If you have a chair, or you can use a sofa or something like that, or a table or a desk if you want, you can place it in front of you. We're going to start with forward bending. Take the feet hip width apart. Inhale and lift up the heart. And exhale. Fold forward at the crease of the hips, not at the waist. Lengthen. You can take your hands to the chair, or your forearms to the chair, or your forehead, whatever you like. Start with a lengthened position, what we often call flat back in our yoga practice. Lift up on the kneecaps to engage the quadriceps. Fold, and you might even want to rest your forehead. You'll see what the forward bend brings. Of course, you can also take hands to the floor or hands to blocks. Be here and breathe. Continue to stamp down the four corners of the feet, inner, outer heel, ball of the big toe, over to the mound of the little toe. Draw back on the thighs. And then as you're ready, press into the feet. Inhale to come up, lift up. Exhale, back to center. And we'll take another variation like this, taking downward dog on the chair, or the forward bend, just as we did before if you prefer. But inhaling, lifting up, exhale, fold forward, and now the arms come either to the top of the chair or to the chair seat. If you're having any issues, like I'm having a shoulder issue, so I'm just going to do this with one arm. Right? You can always make the modification as needed. But if your shoulders feel open and things feel okay, pressing down on the palms. Turning the eyes of the elbows up toward the ceiling. An external rotation of the upper arm. Long spine, tailbone to crown. Just easing into the pose, smooth, steady, slow breaths. And then when you're ready, come on up, lift up. Inhale and exhale back to center. Okay, we're going to take tree pose. Starting with using the chair. This is a really lovely, lovely variation. One of my favorites. Left leg is the standing leg. Right foot comes up on the chair. So this just helps us to take a nice, easy stance and find evenness for the hips. So you can take your fingers to the front hip bones, the as-is bones as we call them. Just feel that they're even. And allow that right sitting bone just to drop toward the floor. So it's just a nice, easy way to help start to open up the inner line of the leg. We rarely get the opportunity to find that external rotation and just kind of rest in it. So we start to find our balance on one leg here. And then release, we'll take the other side. Grounding through that right leg, left foot comes up on the chair. Again, seeing that the hips are even. Letting that left sitting bone drop. You can bring up a little simcha by turning up the corners of your mouth. That seems like something so slight, but you notice when you turn up the corners of your mouth, the whole skin of the face starts to brighten. And the breath maybe starts to relax a little. So just one action of simcha creates a whole set of marbim b'simcha dominoes. Come on off the chair. We're going to switch sides again. We'll do each side. You can either take the same variation again, or take a more classic tree pose. Find a place to settle with your foot. It could be a kickstand, it could be at the ankle or the calf, or maybe it's above the knee, maybe it's all the way up the leg. Just don't put the foot against the knee proper. You never want to press against the joint in that way. And then find a hand position that works for you, a soft gazing point. Couple of steady, smooth, easy breaths here. Pressing foot to leg and leg to foot. And then when you're ready, release. And without any fanfare, find the other side. And it might be a little bit different. You might take the foot to a different place on the other side, depending on what's going on those groins on one leg versus the other. Try to see again that the hip points are even here. And if you fall out, no problem. Just get back in. It's always a life lesson here in the yoga. Again, Nadivut Lev, a generosity toward yourself. Starts here, doesn't it? And then when you're ready, release. We're going to take what we did on the floor, as I said, and bring it to standing position. So extending one leg. So standing on the left leg, we're going to extend the right leg. It could be on the chair here. It could be even lower if you want to block, if you want to just work on your balance low. It could be up on top of the chair. And of course, if you really want to work on your balance, you can take the strap around the foot and do this freestanding, or 2 fingers wrapped around the first toe and extend the leg. But I'm going to take this variation. It's a nice one. So again, letting that right outer hip drop, lifting up on the left kneecap and thigh, just finding some balance here. Couple of breaths. It's nice and smooth and easy. Good. And then we'll pause, mountain pose, and switch sides. So again, it could be fairly low with the leg, could be on the chair, seat, or it could be extended, more like 90 degrees. Or holding with the strap, or holding with to the big toe. And just like we did on the floor, like I said, brighten up the sole of that right foot, really planting your roots into the floor, and extend and brighten also through the left foot. Don't forget the upper body, lengthening through the tailbone and lifting through each vertebra, each level of the spine, lifting up towards the crown of your head. And when you're ready, release, mountain pose, without fidgeting, just pause, steady yourself. Good, and then just like we took the leg out to the side, we'll do that here as well. So, right leg extending out to the side, left leg, standing leg. So it can be here, right? You could keep it low. Or it could be on the back of the chair. You might want to take your blanket over it for some cushion. Right, so just like we took from the center out to the side, here we go. And again, you could also do this with a strap, or you could do this with your hands to the big toe. Letting that right sitting bone drop. And maybe today you surprise yourself, taking on an identity that you didn't know you had as a person who's really clear about balance poses. Clear and steady, and then release. And we'll take the other side. So right leg, standing leg, and left leg comes to the chair. Again, you decide where. It can be low, it can be high. And be here and breathe. Staying easy through the breath, letting that left sitting bone settle, and then release. Come back to mountain pose. Take a hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. You can close your eyes if you'd like, or just soften them, soften your gaze. Go inside and notice how you feel. Notice any reverberations of these poses. And when you're ready, open your eyes. We'll come down to the floor, seated. Bring your blanket with you so that you can sit up on your blanket, have a little height. As you need. Bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop to the sides. So that might be here on the floor. I neglected to say you could also take this in the chair, right? So you could be in the chair, get a little less angle here for all the joints, for the hips, the knees, the ankles. And you can take this pose here just fine. Or seated here, holding onto the ankles or wrapping the first two fingers around the big toes. Just steady yourself, letting the heart lift. No pressing down of the knees, just allowing them to be where they are, but you want to be seated up tall enough that your low back is extended and lifted. Good. And then we'll take the legs out to the sides. Doesn't have to be your super, super widest, but taking the legs wide, again, this could also be done in the chair. Lifting up tall, taking the hands behind you, propping up, tenting up on fingertips, drawing the elbows back toward each other, and lifting up the heart. Good. You could stay right here for this entire time, just grounding the thighs, lifting the spine. Or I'm going to take us into a couple of variations. So just check in with yourself, see where you'd like to be. But if you'd like to work on coming forward, inhale, lift up. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward. Just little by little. Each inhale, lengthening, and each exhale, folding. Inhaling as you lengthen the spine, and exhaling as you fold. When you're ready, inhale and come back to center. And then we're going to fold forward to each side. So turning the torso to face the right leg. And you might want to use the strap. You might want to just use your hands to either side. You can even kind of work it by push-pulling your mat as you turn to the side. That kind of works if you grab sides of the mat. You'll see what works for you. Inhale and lengthen. Again, you can just stay up, straight up, and just kind of work on this twisting of the belly action, right? Or you can work on folding forward. Pressing that back hand into the floor will help to spin the ribs a little bit. You can keep hands here. You can take your strap. You can send your arms forward to hold the foot. See what's available to you. What feels right. couple of breaths. Right? Doesn't have to be your biggest twist or your biggest forward fold. You can just outline the movement even. It's really healthy and good. Kind of reminds the body, reminds the nervous system that these actions are possible. Come back to center. Pause. Take a breath for a moment. And we'll go to the other side. Turning to the left. Inhaling up tall. Again, you might just want to stay right here, or you might work your way forward. And you'll see how it is on the second side. Again, you can use that backhand. You can use those left fingertips to press in and help you with the twist. As you're ready, coming back to center, inhaling, coming up. Good. One last thing, we're going to take a twist. And so I invite you either to do it seated or if you prefer, lying down, right? So either one is okay. I'm going to show it seated. So again, you want to be sitting up with some support. And again, you can also do your twist in the chair as well, if you'd like. Few options. You can bend the right knee and draw it in, extend the left leg, keep them in one line as you twist, or you might want to cross right leg over left, or you might want to tuck the left leg under you, so you'll decide. Any of those are just fine, of course. Inhale and lift up tall, and exhale, take a twist. So that last thing I mentioned about Seudat Purim and finding delight in eating, delight in the bodily process, finding oneg. Maybe you can even access that a little bit as we take this final pose, this twist. It can be such a delightful movement. We don't get enough of twists generally in our day, and they're so important for keeping us pliable, for keeping flexibility, for keeping the digestion moving nicely. When you're ready, coming on back to center and switch sides. You could take the same variation that you did on the first side, or maybe you want to do it differently. But wherever you are, clasp the hands at the left shin and lift up tall. And then as you're ready, exhale and twist to the left. This is why they say not to eat for 3 hours before yoga. The traditional wisdom, because twists can be really deep, and if we've just had something to eat, they're not the best. We're not ready for them. Inhaling as you lift up tall, and exhaling, twisting. And then as you're ready, release. And I just want to invite for a couple of minutes any free flow of movement. Anywhere your body wants to go, let the wisdom come from within. Anywhere that your body wants to move to complete your practice. If there's anything that you miss, that you didn't get, that you want to supplement. It doesn't have to look like yoga. It doesn't really have to look like anything. It could just be free form movement even, just guided from within. Cultivating these qualities I mentioned. Simcha, happiness. Generosity, nidivut lev. care, compassion, rachamim, curiosity, self-study, titlamdut, pleasure, oneg, and courage, ometz lev. And just see where your body wants to take you. And whenever you are ready, beginning to settle into stillness, coming into final relaxation pose, Shavasana, lying on the back. In any way you like. It could be traditional Shavasana with the legs long. Could be constructive rest with the knees bent. You might want to give some ease to your low back by taking the lower legs to the chair or to a sofa. Just allowing the body to soften. To receive the embodied learning today. Few minutes of quiet. Begin to deepen the breath. Wiggling fingers and the toes. Starting to come back to the surface. Give yourself a nice yawn, sigh, full body stretch. Lengthening along the floor. And then draw your knees into a hug toward your chest. And slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. If you're coming back to your day, and of course if you have more time to spend in Shavasana, take a little more rest, by all means please do so. You can return to your day whenever you're ready. If you're starting to transition back to the rest of your day, finding a comfortable seat. So we have a template for exploration of Purim and just many possibilities, many facets. Maybe you want to deepen into Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. Maybe you want to look at one of these other aspects, hidden, revealed, masks, etc. We turn our attention as we close practice to bringing blessing to anyone who needs healing. Might be your own very self, friends, family, community members, and out and out and out in concentric circles to all who are suffering, those who we don't know, those to whom we can still extend love, care, wish for healing and blessing. And bring our attention to those who are still held hostage in Gaza. And we use the prayer, as we've been doing every week, of Achenu, which comes in our Monday and Thursday liturgy as part of the Torah service, wishing for their speedy and sure return. So I invite you either to sing together with me, or you can just listen, let sound wash over you, or you can just study text if you'd like. Achenu kol Beit Yisrael, Achyoteinu kol Beit Yisrael, Hanetunim b'tzara, b'tzara ubashivya, Haomdim ben bayam uven bayabasha. Hamakom yerachem aleim, veyotziem mitzara liravacha, umeafel leora, umishibud rigeula, hashta bagala, uvizman kariv. Hashta bagala, uvizman kariv. Nomar, amen. Thank you all for practicing today. Shavua Tov. Wishing you Chag Purim Sameach